Hey gangs, Bad Avenger. I'm back again with another video with some books that I have and some books that I've recently gotten. Um, I was at my local comic book shop and they had like a deal going where they had like one long box set aside where if you bought one book for $4.99, you can buy four. You would get four for free. So I picked up another copy of Fantastic Four number 600. And the reason I picked this up, I already have a copy, but I always like the Future Foundation Spider-Man costume that he wore while he was a member of the Fantastic Four during this run. I actually like the whole scheme of the Fantastic Four outfits. It gave it a clean, modern look. Um, I got that one for $4.99, and I picked up Marvel Knights Punisher #1 for free, along with another copy of Nightwing #1. And I picked up a copy of Battle Chasers #5, which I'm trying to complete that collection with art by Mad or Madeira. Um, he was a comic book artist, but he kind of moved off of comic books and went into the video game industry. Um, I always liked his art. It was pretty dynamic with the over muscular type of guys. It was kind of reminiscent of I don't know who, but it was just good art. And trying, like I said, to get the entire collection of Battle Chasers. Picked this up for $1. Another copy of Uncanny X-Men #317, first appearance of Blink. Uh, G.I. Joe Marvel Anniversary cover #53. Got that for $1. Millennium Edition House of Mystery. Picked that up for $1. The Marvel No Prize book #1. Been trying to pick up Bone issues. I got these for $1 too. If I can find them for $1, I'm getting all these Bones. That's another series that I'm gonna try to complete. That's issue #22, #17. And Bone, when you get down to the early issues, is very expensive. And you have to be very careful because there's so many second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth prints of those issues that it can become confusing, you know. But Bone by Jeff Smith was a great series. Put this in here because it's one of my Wonder Woman. Terry Dodson is another artist. I put him in the vein with the rest of Adam Hughes, um, J. Scott Campbell, of premier artists that really know how to handle the female form. Um, and Terry Dodson's art, for the most part, has been overlooked. But I put this in because this is one of the nicer covers that I've seen of Wonder Woman. You know, he gave her his version of Wonder Woman to me had more. She had more meat on her bones. You know, kind of like Cho. Cho draws his women with a little more heft to them, which I like. I'm not really into the ultra skinny type of women, especially as being superheroes with the musculature that they should have. And Wonder Woman being an Amazon should always be kind of on the thick side. Put this in because I like the cover. Wolverine #133 with Captain Marvel, back then she was known as Warbird, doing a fastball special with Wolverine. I just like the cover. These are from my private collection. Amazing Spider-Man 21. I just wanted to show. For those that haven't seen it, I'm quite sure most everybody has. The anniversary issue of the wedding of Peter Parker and Mary Jane. That's the standard copy, and this is the other copy with the superheroes and supervillains in the background. This is one of my favorite issues of Amazing Spider-Man. These two books that I'm going to show, Part 1 and Part 2 of Fire-Lord coming to New York City. This is Amazing Spider-Man #269. And the story goes that Fire-Lord was flying through space, and he's hungry. So he's flying past in our solar system. He goes past Earth, and he remembers that Earth has, in his words, such great culinary delights. So he ends up coming to Earth wanting to get something to eat, but because he's Fire Lord, Herald of Galactus, his uh, interpersonal skills aren't exactly the best. So he flies into this deli and demands to be fed, which kind of like starts off getting people into a panic, and everybody starts running this way, that way, and the other, thinking that he's a supervillain, I guess, to destroy New York City. Meanwhile, Spider-Man is swinging by. Spider-Man intervenes, and between that, there's a misunderstanding between him and Fire-Lord. This issue was drawn by Ron Frenz, who I always liked as Spider-Man artist. I mean, his work wasn't overly done. It wasn't very stand out, but it was. I mean, he did Spider-Man justice, and I always liked his version of Spider-Man. But getting back to the story, um, so in this issue 269, and in the final issue of this 270, they proceed to go through New York fighting each other. And Spider-Man is basically running from this dude, knowing full well that he's the Herald of Galactus. But I mean, he's fighting as best he can. He's holding his own in 269. But in 270, this is where the fight really picks up some steam. And eventually ends up with a whole entire building crashing down on Firelord and culminating in a gas station blowing up with Firelord at its epicenter. And Spider-Man goes to him thinking he's knocked out, and as soon as Spider-Man gets close to him, Fire-Lord jumps up, and he's like, "That's the best." To me, he's saying like, "That's the best you can do." And next, Spider-Man is like, never back a person up in the corner, and their back is up against the wall. So Spider-Man just cuts loose, and I mean, the way Ron Frenz draws him beating on Firelord. I mean, he's moving so fast, up and down, in and out, below and above Firelord, just pulminating him with his full power. And he's like, I can't give up. I'm not going to give up. I mean, he's just beating on Firelord, beating on Firelord. And finally, the Avengers show up, and Spider-Man is still to the point. He's just beating on Firelord. He's gone. He's just beating on him. It takes Captain America to say, "Ho, ho, ho! You won, son. You won." And he kind of like pulls his arm back, and it shows that he knocked Firelord out. I mean, it's a funny two-issue series storyline, and to me, that's what made Spider-Man so great for me is that there was always an underlying comedy with Spider-Man, and hopefully they can get back to that with Spider-Man. It's kind of like he's lost that in the writing now. They lost the comedic part of Spider-Man. That's why I loved Civil War so much, because in Civil War, the movie, you had that type of Spider-Man, the one who rambles, the one who makes quips, and he, while he's beating the tar out of you, he's really embarrassing you. And these two books here are like I said, my favorite, my favorite Spider-Man story. I put this in there because this is one of the best, in my opinion, Alex Ross covers of all time. The way he did Adam West and Linda Carter, I mean, it's just beautiful. Very beautiful book. And I mean, it's just perfect. Perfect. How you would think they would be on the show is just how he got them on paper. Moving on, I got Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 15. This storyline also has a great place in my heart. It was done by Frank Miller and Claus Janson, did the inking, and it's one of the greater Amazing Spider-Man stories too. Now this is a stickler. Speculation, now with a warning. Apparently Wolverine is coming back. And it might be a part of what's going on with Marvel with this generations mess that they're trying to pull. You know, they tried to do with this with all these new characters and getting rid of the old, and they found out it wasn't working. So now they're trying to do this thing called Generations, where they're bringing back the old characters or trying to reintegrate something or other. I guess they're trying to patch up the mess that they made. But there's a Wolverine coming, and I think it's in X-Men Gold or X-Men Blue. I'm not sure, but they showed it in Newsarama, I think, or Comic Book Resources. But they had the Wolverine's face and hands pixelated out. The rumor is that the new Wolverine is this version, James Hudson, the son of Wolverine from the from the Ultimate Universe, which is kind of cool because I always like this character of James Hudson, you know. And if that's true, that's fine with me. This line, Ultimate X, was to me one of the better Ultimate books, but it only lasted like 4 issues, and they discontinued it for some odd reason or another. It had art by Arthur Adams. You know, it was a good book, but like I said, things happen, you just don't know why. Here's another speculation book for you, Uncanny Avengers #9. It's the first appearance of the Hank Pym merged Ultron being, um, which is going to be a major player in upcoming books in the Marvel Universe, I guess as a villain, because he shows himself as being more Hank Pym in this book, but in this book, #10, which is the first cover appearance of the reborn Ultron, it seems that the Ultron half of him has taken over and he has become a major villain. And if you got Ultron merged with his maker, you thought Ultron was dangerous before. I think the Marvel Universe really has something on their hands now. I showed this book a couple times before, but I'm reiterating it because now you got X-Force coming back, and she's a major player in this. Lady Deathstrike, this is her first appearance in Daredevil 197. You still can find this book in the dollar bins. If you look, I mean, hard enough, it pops up. I have like 2 or 3 copies of it, and I can attest that it does float into the dollar bins occasionally. This Silver Sable, this is not her first appearance, but this is her first comic book with her as the hero. Apparently, there's going to be a movie with her and Black Cat coming out from Marvel. I have reservations about that, but look what happened with Guardians of the Galaxy. So, I mean, Marvel so far hasn't let anybody down as far as in the movie division. And in the Netflix division, they've been doing pretty well too. So this might be a sleeper. So another book you can readily find in the dollar bin for now. Now this is a brand new book, Green Arrow #18. This is the price variant though, but that's not why I'm talking about this book. I'm talking about this book because this is the retelling of the origin of Green Arrow when he met Speedy, Roy Harper. And the reason I'm picking this for significance is because what's going on with the DC Universe as a whole, this is the greatest time for those who are new to comic books or those who are getting re-established in comic books, especially with the DC Universe, is that DC Universe has been reborn, which means a lot of things are new again, which means you're going to have new characters popping out that will become major characters or very popular characters in the end run later on. Now, I mean, a lot of this is speculation, but from what's going on with DC, they're doing very, very well with what they got with their comic books. Interest is high. Characters are good. Stories are good. They're doing very, very well. And I would advise anybody just to pick a copy of this up. Like I said, I'm a long-term, what you call, like Tony Stark said, a futurist. I kind of like to try to think ahead of the game. I try to get books while they're cheap instead of waiting until they become hot. And then later on, you got to spend $10, $15, $20 for a book that you could have really gotten for a cover price. This line, Teen Titans, I would advise anybody, pick the entire line up. But I got this book here for a reason because this is first appearance of Aqualad in the DC Universe proper. And what I mean by that, he has shown up in the past in Young Justice, the animated comic book version of Young Justice. So this is not his first comic book appearance, but this is his first DC Universe proper appearance. This is another book that just came out. Get a copy. And like I said, this series so far, Teen Titans has really impressed me. I really like the book. And like I said before in past videos, you had the first appearance of the Demon's Fist, which is Ra's al Ghul's little mercenary team, and is led by Mara, who is the cousin of Damian Wayne. So, I mean, and she looks to be a major player in his life and in the Batman continuity. So, like I said, I mean, you can't go wrong with Teen Titans. All right. Hardy's Little Black Book number 3. And the only reason I'm picking this out is because it's got 2 hot characters on there. Zatanna and Harley Quinn. Nothing else needs to be said. I found going through, like I said, I've been going through a lot of my comics that I have upstairs, and I found some more DC Universe, and I'm pleasantly surprised. Wonder Woman number 86 and Wonder Woman number 87. Both of those are DC Universe books, which carry a higher premium than the standard books. Coming down to the wire, folks. This book, with the advent of Ben Reilly coming back, this book might be worth a little bit. I mean, it's worth a little bit of money now. But I always like this costume. A lot of people don't like it. I mean, it's weird, but I mean, I just like it. It fits. I mean, when it's drawn by the right person, you got to have artists who can draw this thing right, give it some justice, because some people can't handle certain things. But this is one of my favorite books too. Ben Reilly. This is the first appearance of him in this new costume, and fighting Venom. This is the second part of that series with Scarlet Spider and Venom. Now this book, I forgot I had it. I went digging, like I said, and I picked it out. First appearance of Mara. And in the last video I had Venom Space Knight number, I think it was 4. It had her on the front cover with Venom. And I'm trying to tell you, you got to watch certain characters. They pop in, they pop out, and you don't hear from them for a while. And the next thing you know, they come back, and the next thing you know, you have a hot character. The females seem like they're the hottest thing going right now in both DC and Marvel comics. Mania, this is her first appearance in comic book Venom. And she is basically a female where the Venom symbiote had bonded with her. And for some reason, she's cursed with this suit. It makes her want to do bad things. But look out for this one. This is a pricey book. This one has picked up steam. It's picked up some value. A lot of people have caught on to it. And the comic book shops have caught on to it. So good luck in finding it for a good price. I got this book back in the day for $15. And it's kind of wild because a lot of Walking Dead stuff is worth a lot of money. But Walking Dead Weekly, for some reason, I mean, it's not picking up any steam as far as value. And this came directly after Walking Dead. So it's like really, this is like the second printing of Walking Dead. But, I mean, it's overlooked. This one, though, I think it's worth at the most maybe $50. It's the first appearance of, golly day, here I go, I'm having a brain fart. Golly. Well, y'all know who she is. Golly day, I hate when I get this way. It's always when I'm doing a video. But yeah, this is Walking Dead Weekly. And like I said, for some reason, Walking Dead Weekly books just don't carry Michonne, I'm sorry. Okay, bear with me, people. I'm kind of old. So, I mean, if you can find it, and for one thing, it's kind of hard to find. But I don't get it. I don't get it. But the last book I want to show is this book. This book has a special place in my heart and will never be sold in my collection. I met Jim Lee a couple years ago. I mean, a couple years ago. My son, he's 27 now. Back then, he was 12, and we went to Jeppy's comic book shop on Security Boulevard in Baltimore. And I knew ahead of time that Jim Lee was going to be there. Steve Jeppy had got him to appear. This is before Jim Lee became Jim Lee. I mean, but he was Jim Lee back then. And he was signing books. But at the time I walked in with my son, I had some books and some cards from the Jim Lee X-Men trading card set that he had put out. Um, and he was drawing a Batman. And the guy was there, had commissioned him to draw a Batman eating pizza. And Jim Lee was having a problem. Jim Lee was having a problem getting the actual perspective right of the pizza for Batman to eat. So when we came in, Jim Lee asked me if my son wouldn't mind posing for him with he had cut out a piece of triangle from a backing board and made it look like a piece of pizza. And he had my son stand there while he posed him like he was eating a pizza. And he actually had my son was actually sitting for him. And he signed this book and a couple other stuff for me. And this book right here is the first Jim Lee art in Marvel. And like I said, this book will always have a special place in my heart for the memory of the story of my son posing for him while he did a commissioned artwork for a gentleman who was in the store. And like I said, this book will never ever leave my household. And that's the last book I want to show today. And I hope you all enjoyed the video. And this is Bad Avenger signing off.